English major, that I actually can get a job and make a career, and that it just, I think, gives students more confidence for what happens after graduation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So, do you have any advice for new writers who might be nervous about submitting their work for the first time?
I do.
Go. Yeah.
I talk about this in every creative writing class I teach because rejection was such a horrible experience for me as a young writer. I didn't submit my work until after grad school, and no one told me how hard it was to get published. And so I think I had 10 rejections, and I just wanted to quit. I mean, I thought I was a failed writer. And so what I tell people is that rejection is part of it, simply because no magazine can say yes to everything that comes across their desk. And so two things that are important about that rejection. It shouldn't make you feel like you're a worse writer if you get rejected, and it shouldn't make you feel like a better writer if you get accepted. You need to have your own relationship with your work that is not altered by an editor, and that's because it's not a reflection of whether the work is good or bad. It's a reflection, does that editorial group love your piece more than anything else they've seen that day?
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to tell writers that several students at NAU have submitted to the tunnels, gotten a no, and then the next semester submitted the same thing and gotten a yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's subjective. It's not a reflection on the talent or anything, or the potential of the writer. So I think some people submit too early. They're not ready to have that relationship with their work. So I say just really wait until it's not going to crush your spirit, because I have seen people quit writing because they get too many no's. Even people who get some yeses, the no's just become overwhelming. So I never want this magazine to feel competitive in a bad way amongst students, and I never want it to be the thing that makes someone stop writing.
Right.
So that's my advice.
Yeah. I mean, I'd almost swing the opposite direction too and say, I wish that someone had encouraged me to send out work earlier, because there's a part of me that thinks, I don't want to say this in a negative way, but that there's something about being a writing means that you're, to be a writer, you're writing all the time, obviously, but I also think there's something about submitting your work for someone else to see and outside of the classroom. And so I would say, too, don't wait too long to submit. And actually, if you do that, I think that the rejections don't hurt as much, right? Because instead of waiting till the work is perfect in your mind and then getting a rejection on that, good enough, I think, is you know that you've worked on it, but you also maybe need another set of eyes on it or something. But I think engaging with the professional world sooner rather than later is really important too.
And I think I submitted too late, because I then thought, well, I'm a professional now. I have an MFA. This is going to go well for me. And I just think no one told me how terrible. If someone as an undergrad had told me you're going to get 98% of your submissions rejected, I would have been like, okay, let's just start now. Because every no is towards the yes that you're going to eventually find, hopefully. So.
And there's also, I think people think the part of submitting is not a skill, but I feel like it's its own skill. So knowing the market, finding a way to organize, where is the submission, what was the answer, do I want to submit to them again? How do I submit to them again? So understanding all of that, that's actually a skill that needs to be built as well.
And it's so time consuming. And my good friend who's a writer, Robin Black, she talked about how often things will snowball. So you'll struggle. You get a publication that people kind of notice, and then you get another one, and then it gets easier the longer you do it.
Right.
Because you build up a body of work that people... I submitted once to a magazine, and they said, we were so glad to see your name come across our queue. And I'm like, you know who I am?
Yeah. Amazing.
I had no idea. But they went into the submission wanting to say yes, and it only took me 12 years to do that. So it is a really long process for some of us.
And another good reason, I guess, to submit sooner rather than later, because those acceptances do help you.
Now that people know a little bit more about the tunnels, do you have any final words for the viewers?
Submit.
Read us, we're really good.
Yeah, read us. Submit.
Tell a friend.
Support it, follow us on social media. We're passionate about this, but we need other people to pick up that passion. Yeah.
The best success we've had is when a student tells another student to submit. Hey, I loved this piece in workshop, you should send it to the tunnels. That's when we get the most, the strongest submissions and the most follow through. Because people are really shy, but if someone specifically says to you, this piece deserves a home and an audience, it helps.
And I would love to see students from other majors to join the staff somehow. We've got to figure out how that will work with the capstone, but we'll find a way. We'll find a way.
We want to make you welcome.
Yes.
Thank you all so much for joining us today to find out more about your local magazine.
We look forward to seeing your submissions in the future. Goodbye now!